I had some questions regarding the type of material. Will these be resurfaced with, I heard you mention about heavier traffic on Carroll Street and Gladys Street. Will they be resurfaced with concrete to accommodate the weight, or will these be asphalt, or we didn't talk about material types?
It depends on the roadway. So Gladys is scheduled to be an asphalt resurface. So we'll do that similar to what we did on 4th Street, what we're about to do on Highland Avenue, where we will, because it's a composite section where there's concrete road underneath and then the asphalt overlay. So we will mill off the asphalt and then make the base repairs and then overlay that with asphalt. So you'll have a smooth, continuous driving surface. On the detail sheet, like for the Carroll and Sycamore, those are concrete pavement repairs. So we will be going back, making the concrete repairs and then coming back with where the sections are hot mix asphalt, we will resurface with the hot mix asphalt, but also too, with a more robust section that can stand up to the beatings that they're taking right now from the trucks. And then in most of these, when you go into the worksheets, those details should be in the project worksheets.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong about this, but the south end of Beaumont in wards 3 and 4, were those streets done originally by a grant program when they concreted Beaufort and Irvin Street and those roads?
I would have to research that.
I think that's how they became concrete streets originally,
It's possible.
because they qualified as a grant. They were in targeted areas. And my next question is, were these streets selected based on major thoroughfares? Because I see there's no residential streets, like inside the resident. These are pretty much business areas.
Correct.
Even though you might think of Carroll Street and Beaufort as being residential, those houses have been all torn down.
No, sir. So
And you did mention it would benefit ExxonMobil's traffic going in and out of there.
ExxonMobil, the Port of Beaumont, and the city as well. And we have major infrastructure in those areas. That's one of the primary outfalls of our drainage. And so to your question, though, about the selection of the roads, and like I mentioned to Mr. Lewis, that, we looked at the condition of the road, what traffic travels that road, and then who is the end user of the road, and if it's the businesses or industries or other establishments. The residential roads that you're referring to were not part of the bond election. Those are part of our routine annual general obligation bonds work that we do. And you'll see on the summary sheet at the beginning of the packet of the worksheets, there's a long list of projects that we have. And so what you will see is our annual street rehabilitation program. And that is, for FY26, it's about a $13.4 million investment. And that is our asphalt road resurfacing program, our pavement preservation program, our concrete curb and gutter repair program, and our pavement marking program. And so that is the line item where you will see the residential roads being addressed. But those were not put up for election, but those are funds that the city has committed to annually to spend.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
And again, my name is LaShawn Proctor. In that, and I'm kind of like in the same sense of this Carroll and the mobile thing, where it is. And I know there's more industry. As Mr. Zeno says, not much commercial, much residential over there in those areas anymore because ExxonMobil and the port bought all of that stuff up. And just a business side, and maybe something that even I know a lot of this money is put through the bond, but was mobile or the port or any of those entities ever going would partner, since they're the ones that mostly use this road? Because again, you do have residential traffic that go there, but most of the time when you go to that part of town, all you see is trucks. So in that sense, even in resurfacing, what's the lifespan? Because even to dump this money in there, you got trucks that's constantly using this and beating this up. Then if the lifespan is a year or 2 years, is it even hypothetical again with that type of weight, and things that's coming in? And I don't know constructionally what the part is, but that's just something that I would be concerned with, the lifespan. And even how much could we get them to even invest in this, since they are the main users, of this? Was that something that was even brought to them, as far as it's like if we sharing property, what I'm saying? Why would it be my responsibility to do the property if we're sharing it, in a sense? And I understand it's city streets, I do, but if they're the main users, and the main ones that's going to be the destruction of it because of the weight of the trucks and the traffic of that, how does that work in a sense with that part? Or is it even an option?
Well, and that's, these were some of the roads that were, and that's part of why we didn't have a defined timeline for those when we were identifying them. We really looked at them and the fact that they have a high traffic volume. They do impact, the residents there. They drive those streets as well to go there. Our neighbors, our citizens, our community use those roads to go to work in that area, to go to school in that area, and so even try to navigate how to do the shared investment from these other entities. I know it would be a longer and complicated discussion that is way above my pay level, but we do have it was important to us for our neighbors and our community to get these roads into a good condition, because we still have neighbors that live there, and they should have good road to travel on, even if it's getting beat up by the heavy truck traffic. As far as the design lifespan, ideally you want to get 20 plus years of service out of that. That also includes maintenance. And so that is something that in the last 5 years, 6 years now that I've been in public works, we've been very committed to maintaining our asphalt roads. And that's one of the differences between a concrete road and an asphalt road. You have less investment up front on your asphalt road, but you've got to come back every few years and you've got to resurface it and retop it to maintain its integrity. Where the concrete road, you have a huge upfront investment and you get to ride it out for as long as we've ridden out these roads. But they've effectively reached the end of their design life. And so we're coming in with a robust section because we see the loads that these roads are encountering, and make sure that these roads are as resilient as that they can be. I hope that answers your question. Any other questions? These are really good. Hey, Mr. Roy.
Hey, my name is Terry Roy. I was looking at the Hoover Street Dollinger Road. The cement company is still back there, right?
Yes, sir.
And we want to spend 1.25 million to fix something that they're going to tear up in probably 2 or 3 months. Are they contributing to any of that in any kind of way? Because that's who's tearing it up.
I'm not aware of any contribution from the industry, but I can research that and make sure, because we did discuss some work with them. They have committed to doing more of the roadside cleanliness, because it actually does have an impact because of the sand, the silt, the debris that comes off as they drive off of those properties can clog up the storm sewer system, which then causes a standing water issue that increases the deterioration of the roads. So they are committing to doing that effort for us, which is no small feat. And so but this is, again, another important area that is a a cut through that doesn't get used. You know, it is an access to get to that area between 11th Street and Concord and get that traffic off of I-10, and it doesn't get used just because the condition of that road is so poor.
Even if they can contribute the concrete to it, I mean,
That's a good deal.
that would help. If they could do that, that would save a lot. We can use that somewhere else. Just my opinion.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Any more questions before we move to drainage? Okay. So on the next page, item number 5 are drainage improvements. The estimated investment is just over $28 million. And the major projects begin with the Broad Oak outfall ditch. And so this is on the very, very north end of Beaumont. Don't get much further north than this. So this ditch starts effectively in front of the Coca-Cola plant and goes to Pine Island Bio. It is a natural channel that does not have, we have no way to get in there and maintain this ditch. So the estimated cost of $440,000 is to clear and rehabilitate the ditch and acquire the right-of-way for maintenance. And it's a small project, but this area has been hammered so bad by flooding events from Pine Island Bow. And so having a way for this water to leave this neighborhood efficiently is something that we look forward to bringing to the community. Our next project is the West Lucas Storm Sewer Project. And that is the structural rehabilitation of a 72-inch storm sewer line. It starts at Folsom Drive, and it goes all the way south of Phelan Boulevard, actually south of Laurel, to where it connects with the Drainage District 6 ditch. It's about 2.25 miles long, and the estimated cost for that is $11.2 million. Mr. Goodson asked a good question. He said, well, didn't we already do some work out there at the corner of Delaware and Lucas, or right at Christmas time, the most inconvenient time possible? Yes. And that was just a point repair on that storm sewer where it had started to fall in. And that was, I don't have the cost estimate in front of me for what that ended up costing us. But that line all the way down needs to be stabilized. We have already invested $4.5 million to perform investigations of this line, which included ground penetrating radar. So we have stabilized the exterior of the pipe, and now the structural liner from the interior will effectively replace the inside of the pipe. What we like about this method is it's the most cost-effective solution that we have for rehabilitating these large diameter lines without digging up the entire road and the disruption that would cause. So that is our West Lucas Storm Sewer Project. And then we have our ongoing citywide programs. And the first of those is the annual citywide ditching program. The city of Beaumont maintains over 300 miles of roadside ditches. And so we've started this program a few years ago. We're now on phase 3 of the project. Each phase addresses 20% of the city's roadside ditches. And we have seen good success with this program. And what this does is effectively mops out the ditch, sets them to the proper grade, and then we reset the driveway culverts, any culverts that are more than 3 inches out of grade, either high or low, get replaced and set at grade. And in the areas where we have completed this work, the number of drainage concerns and complaints have reduced. And this will enable us to continue this program moving forward. I failed to put on here, but the estimated cost of that is $10.52 million. And this also includes the purchase of equipment for the city to replace some of its gradalls and other equipment associated with the city crews continuing the ditching program. And we estimate that it's about $3.4 to $3.5 million per year for 3 years for this work. And if you do the math, you're like, okay, well, that gets us to 120% of the city's ditches. You would be correct. Because now, once we go through and touch the entire city over the length of that program, we're going to have to go back. There's going to be some other areas that need additional work, need additional improvements, because like we've encountered areas where just setting it to a grade is insufficient. Just mopping it out is not sufficient. And so there are areas where we're going to have a little bit more in-depth projects, still roadside ditches, but we're going to actually have to deepen them, widen them, similar to what we've done in the Laura addition, which is a neighborhood off of Erie Street, south of Cardinal, and what we're doing currently on Phelps Road, where you're seeing these ditches go deeper and much larger driveway culverts. And then the last project on the drainage is our storm sewer cleaning. So we have about 420 miles of underground storm sewer lines that we're responsible for maintaining. And this will provide for annual cleaning to remove debris from the pipes. And this is part of our storm sewer asset management program. So we are behind on our asset management program for the storm sewer system. And so we have in our community investment plan that was not part of the bond election, and it is for stormwater pipe inspections, point repairs, and data asset management. So we work with a consulting firm, it's an engineering firm, that is going out and mapping and inspecting all of our storm sewer system. And we have a live map of the data that they are collecting. And from there, they make engineering recommendations of which storm lines need to be cleaned, or that where they see that there's maybe a collapse or an issue that needs us to go and dig it up and make a repair. And so that work is ongoing, and that is what is identifying the storm lines that need to be cleaned. We started this process on 4th Street, and we were able to identify areas that just needed to be cleaned. And these were repetitive drainage complaint issues. And we were able to, through that program, identify where the choke points were. Maybe a utility has drilled through our storm sewer system, and that's causing garbage to back up and plug the storm lines. And so we were able then to build conflict boxes where streets and drainage now can periodically go in there, pull the lids off, vacuum it out, and restore drainage flow to the system. So now it's something that we can maintain. The Highland Avenue project, we did this as well there. And I don't know if y'all remember during the open houses, pictures of the storm lines before and after. A lot of those came from Highland. And so what we found is a lot of these storm lines were over 50% full of sand and sediment. And simply by cleaning them out, and we were able to TV them, see that their structural integrity was just fine, and then notice that when we had those heavy rains this summer, we didn't get calls. So we are seeing benefits from these programs, and this allows us to continue that. And that's estimated to be $2 million per year for 3 years, for a total of $6 million. So those are the drainage projects. Are there any questions about them?
Will these projects, will all the drainage projects be done by city employees,
These
or will they be outsourced?
will be contracted out.
They will be contracted out.
Yes, sir. Except for the equipment purchase for the city crews. And so the equipment will provide the equipment that the crews need to be able to do more ditching work in-house.
So the maintenance work will be done by the city employees, but the actual projects will be done, contracted out.
Yeah, the projects will be contracted out, and what it's doing is, like the ditching program, is giving us a chance to get caught back up and get back to where we can level set the city. But our crews are always going to be needed for acute areas that need immediate attention, and that's what our crews, they'll utilize this equipment to be able to address those needs.
So we're not equipped to do this work, as far as the employees are concerned?
If they were to do this work, they can't do all the other work that they need to do. This is in addition to the work that they would need to do. But like the West Lucas project, we don't have that skill set.
Okay, where is this Broad Oak outfall ditch? Where is that?
This is on Broad Oak Street. So if you go,
Is that off of Laurel?
oh no, sir, north of Tram Road, almost to Lumberton. You know where the Coca-Cola plant is?
Yes.
It starts in front of the Coca-Cola plant and it goes east across Sherwood Drive through that neighborhood into Pine Island Mile.
And so this is behind the neighborhoods,
It's right through the middle of the neighborhood.
through the middle?
Yes, sir. On the screen here, sir, that red line represents the path of that ditch. So it follows Broad Oak and then crosses through the residential lots. So it's crossing Sherwood, Fairfield, Glenbrook, Pine Haven, and Forest Glen Drives, trying to get out to Pine Island Bio.
Okay.
If you drive out there in that area, it's very distinct where that channel is. Like if you drive on, not so much Sherwood because there's a culvert there, but if you go Fairfield, Glenbrook, Pine Haven, you're driving and then all of a sudden that road comes down and it comes back up. And so, and if you look to the sides, it's woods. And so that channel needs to be cleared, but we can't get in there and do the clearing and shape that ditch until we acquire that right of way.
And all of that's included in this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, I think that. All righty, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. So I think our next topic is I promise next time will be better. I'll be better prepared. So our next items of housekeeping are, do you have my agenda? Here. Yes. So right now, if we were to meet every quarter, today's February 10th, that would put us at a May, August, November interval. And so this is the second Tuesday of the month. Council meets on the first and third Tuesdays of the month. And so we'll look to any feedback if we want to continue this on the second Tuesday of the month. If that's agreeable.
I would also suggest that if you have conflicts coming up, to go ahead and let Molly know. And when you schedule the next official meeting in May, it's going to take a while for these projects to kick off. But your first official meeting will actually be in May, and it'll actually be at the Lakeside Center and the larger meeting room. I hope you know where that is. It's the Lakeside Center. So it will be there. So you guys can kind of come with those dates. We'll use your unavailable dates to kind of scan out. So obviously we don't want to meet on the first and third because that's when council meets, and that puts a strain on staff because we're there. But anything outside of the first and third Tuesday would work. And so just kind of keep that in mind when meeting. And obviously yes, sir, for in May. So just kind of keep that in mind. And then the next The only other thing, like the location has been secured, so we want to keep it at a city facility. And the two main focus is that it has to have the ability, open space. That's where we use our joint meetings with the BISTs, either at the event center or at the Lakeside meeting room. Obviously, with the event center, we run into events being hosted there, which is why we chose the other venue, the Lakeside Center. It's in that same proximity in terms of where, but it also needs to be able to accommodate all of you, which is 19 staff, the ability to record, and any members of the public. So we need a much larger space. So this is the last time. So I don't want you to kind of think that we'll be here. This is probably the last time we'll get to meet in this room. That's really it. You did good.
Thank you. One of the things something that I am looking for is what information would you want to see would help you in your communication to citizens that we can share on the city's website. I'm definitely open to any ideas you may have. You've got my email address. One of the things, like for the storm sewer cleaning, we will have a live map, so that as the work progresses, you could log into it at any time and see what has been done, what needs to be done. And so want to make sure that we are as transparent in this process as possible. So, yes, sir.
You have a question. Does the council? Jesus.
So sorry. Last time.
Okay, is it that the council, could they talk about the work that we're doing after it's done? So that the council can know and people could see that as well?
So any recommendations you make to council will be presented to them in an open meeting for them for discussion and approval. Anything that's conducted in the meeting itself, again, is subject to the Open Meetings Act and rules. So until council votes on it and until it gets to their agenda, it's not for them to kind of speak on. They can talk about the work, they can talk about the vote, and they can't discuss it amongst each other. So the same rules that apply to them for open meeting applies to this rule as well.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Sheree Molly Guy Goodson. My suggestions, both for the website and for the next agenda item about future, would be the following. First, since we're not going to be meeting for another 90 days, and I don't know if there's any anticipated activities on any of these projects other than engineering design work besides the project you just mentioned. But I think it would be very beneficial to the members of the committee that we receive updates on any activities that are ongoing in any of the four project areas outside of engineering. And then also, because this debt, 58 million, was authorized in November, but it's my understanding none of the bonds have been issued yet. So it would be beneficial to know the timing when money is going to be coming to go forward with some of these projects. And third, not all of these, these projects are funded under the bond issue, but they're larger projects that you've mentioned in the other schedule are also ongoing. And so that the committee is able to fully communicate with citizens as those other related projects to these four areas here are done, even if they're done with city funds, so that the timetable between our meeting, that you will give us some idea of those activities, to me would be very beneficial. And the only one thing I wanted to say, really appreciate some of the comments about the question of the useful life of some of these projects. And certainly that is a big concern, but just for the benefit of those, when the lawyers sit down and decide to go out and issue over 1, 2, or 3 deliveries, that's $58 million. I don't expect it to all be delivered at once. Mr. King in the back can tell you that somebody with an engineering background has to opine to a useful life value that exceeds the amount of years that the debt's going to be paid back. So if these are 20-year bonds, it's going to have a 30, 40, 50-year useful life, and it's going to depend on the particular elements. And truly, as you say, asphalt roads won't last as long as concrete roads, but just looking up the IRS table, concrete roads are to last 40-plus years.
And this feels weird for me because you probably know more about the Open Meetings Act than I do, Mayor Goodson. But obviously, we can communicate with the board, but the board can discuss it. Obviously, we can send out updates, can discuss.
Just that you would be able to send something out to our to our email addresses that you've asked for. And I'm not talking about, and truly, I do this, I don't want to have anybody respond to me.
Yeah, and so that would be the next thing.
Responding to you all, and I'm telling everybody, I do this, no,
Yeah.
I do not want anybody to violate the open meeting act at all. I just think it's beneficial if we have a good idea of project overview between the 90 days, because people are going to stop the individual.
So what I would say to that is that y'all aren't bound by the quarterly. That's the minimum meeting schedule. So if y'all wanted to meet sooner, if there was like a large update, and Miles says, hey, we have a large update and there's enough for y'all to consider and to discuss if y'all want to have questions. I would say initially on that initial, just based on the questions we have now, it may be beneficial to meet sooner in the initial proceedings so that we can, when we're giving out that large information, what does that mean? So that we can have those necessary parties here, like bond counsel, to explain the issuance of debt, to explain the timelines, to discuss what information is being put in the RFP, to talk about how it's being engineered. That's kind of a comprehensive and long email. It may be a 45-minute discussion in a meeting, but it's definitely a lengthy email. So you aren't bound by the May meeting date. We just said if that's what the quarterly looks like. So obviously, Molly and I'll get together and we'll look at what some of those deliverables are, and then we'll reach out back to the body to see when the next available meeting could be, possibly in March or April.
Well, not to be facetious, but until your bond lawyers sell some bonds and Molly's got some money to spend along with the city manager and the city council, I just, people will start asking, and so it's just best if we know now in May if there's any major activities in any of the projects. Yeah, they may be selling debt within the next.
Yeah, we can definitely keep you posted on that.
One of the things that has come to mind that may be a worthwhile topic of discussion is anticipated schedules and durations, and a suggested order for the projects to start being undertaken. We have a couple of vendors that are ready to go to work, and they're banging on the door and they're ready to get started. Other ones are going to take a little longer because we need to issue RFQs to engage consultants to start preparing the packages that need to be prepared. So I can work on, and some I've already started on, framing out durations for each of these projects, and then how does that schedule look like, because they're going to need that as well for the debt issuance of what do we realistically expect to spend within the next year, 2 years, 3 years out. And so because it's a lot of work. There's a lot of work to get done, and anxious to get started on it. But any future discussion topics or something that you feel warrants a presentation either from Key City staff or our debt consultant or whomever, please reach out and let me know so that we can put together a list of topics. And again, open to meeting more frequently. Like I said, like she said, the quarterly is the minimum, but definitely want to make sure that y'all are provided as much information as possible, because y'all are our conduit to the community. So anything I can do to help support that effort, anything we can do to support that effort, happy to do it.
And just so you know, like the city manager, the city attorney, and other key staff are ex officio members, so you'll see us in and out of the meeting. So you're welcome to access any questions at time. And then as your meetings progress, anyone on staff that you have questions about or have questions for, including myself, our bond counsel, or any of our outside finance, if that's who you want at the meeting to present that presentation, that's just an ask. We just ask that obviously, when you get your package, you just give us enough notice in advance so that we can make sure that those individuals are here and can provide that information. And I think we did good. We said we an hour. It's exactly an hour. So if there's no other questions, I would like to answer the elephant in the room. Yes, Molly and I coordinated our outfits today. Kidding. But go cards. But like I said, the next, if they're taking into consideration Mayor Goodson's request, if there's a necessity of an additional large sum of information for updates, we will be reaching out to schedule a follow-up meeting sometime in March or April, just to kind of get the board addressed with that.
List of those streets that, crucial information when citizens start asking about.
Well, glad you asked. And I will take this moment for anyone who is interested. I'm sorry, our passwords are this long, so it takes a while. Oh, yeah, we're safe.
Money. Money. So allocation of funds, typically the city does issue a general certificate of obligations for our drainage projects. And we're obviously only able to issue so much debt to maintain our rating periods. And this is way past my financial knowledge, but basically you can't borrow more without affecting your credit score, right? So every quarter we were ordering, or on a schedule, I think we were at every 3 years or so, every 3 to 5 years, we were issuing COs to kind of maintain our districts. But and some of it was also kind of paid out of our fund balance. But again, maintaining those issues. The city of Beaumont has a very aging infrastructure, and balancing some of your drainage projects with some of your street projects with some of your other major projects has always been a struggle for councils and in several other cities. So that's just kind of where we are. So the bottom line is it just comes down to money. And also, as you know, the city hasn't did a bond election in nearly 40 years. So the average bond election for a city is every 5 to 8 years. And it includes these major projects and also some feel-good projects. So the behind, as you put it, is a combination of not being progressive in some of those other areas. But money.
So on the city's webpage, if you go to Services and Public Works, so on the Public Works webpage, we have several bits of information that you can click on, and I hope I'm doing the right one. So we have our street rehabilitation program, and there is all of our current and completed street rehabilitation projects. And so there is like our concrete pavement repair work that is ongoing right now, current and past. So if a road segment is highlighted in green, that means it's completed. And if it's in red, it is currently underway. And so I'm trying to click on Phelan. And so it's pending because it is currently under construction. If you've driven Phelan recently, you've probably encountered these repairs. And then our there's our pavement preservation. Where's our street rehab? There it is. So we started tracking these starting back in June of 2019 to 2020. And these are all the roads that we have done a mill and overlay of residential roads. And so again, green means it was completed, and they're listed here by name, or you can click on the individual road segment. So, pending for Fawnville. So we have a current street rehab contract underway. They're working in this area here, south of Washington Boulevard. But at any point, all of these roads that we've been working on, have worked on across the city, these are our asphalt residential street projects. And so, yeah, there's all that information lives there. I hope we're not the only ones looking at it. I hope other people are as well, because we work very hard to make sure this information is available to everyone. Thank you. There being no further questions. Oh, yes, Mr. Roy. On the, so the question is on the storm sewer cleaning, if we're gonna clean the screens. This is stormwater. There are no screens. This is all gravity flow. Well, 6:41 PM. Thank y'all very much. Really do appreciate. Thank you for the great questions. Have a good, safe evening.